Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you are watching this video. Welcome to an NRTS 1v1 cast by yours truly. God, I can't even remember the map. Grassland. Yeah, I didn't recall there being any desert conflict casts on the backlog. Yeah, anyways, I'm recording this after work because I forgot to freaking record a cast for, I guess technically today at 6 in the morning, so that's on me. Yeah, this is played between Algo and I Exploded. As part of the second Saturday Smackdown. There wasn't as much participation in the second as there was in the first. Half of that was because I overslept by 2 hours, but it is what it is. This was played like almost a month ago, I want to say. 3 weeks ago? Something around that. Both of these players are pretty damn competent in that, like, when fighting them, like when they've got their attention in the right spots, they're a menace. I mean, I can keep mentioning it till the cows come home. I don't think it changes much that a lot of the player base of NRTS, the main thing they're weak at is cycling their attention between different tasks. But outside of like idling workers and not doing very much when they're busy microing militia, yeah, no, these guys can and will mess you up on the ladder. No slouches, not at all. And playing with Explode, I have noticed that he's become a bit better since some of these games, which that's always neat to see in somebody, playing with them and watching them improve over time. But yeah, as far as map position right now, green has way more farms than blue. Explode is pretty much in a commanding lead. He has, what, 5 militia at his front? And yeah, that has caused blue to spend $50 on towers. Blue didn't go and make a house, which is great and all, but he doesn't have the eco to do much with it. What was that, 3 workers and some militia? And he's got 4 farms. 5, 6, okay. Counting is not easy at 4 in the morning. Anyways. Blue does have his force concentrated a bit better than green's. If he wanted to, he could have pushed. Maybe got a worker kill, which would have been really good. I do think blue's got a worker's advantage, or not a worker's advantage, numbers advantage right now, but green's got so many farms. If you're Algo here, you've got to do something to keep his workers from just taking the map, and he does have a whole bunch of militia. If you're blue, you just push. You've got the dudes, and they were there. Take the fight against half of green's army. I think outside of keeping the 3 workers together, which I guess in fairness, it's not very intuitive that having more workers doing one thing makes them contribute less than if you have those So working together versus working in parallel. If you have 3 workers each building 1 farm, then you'll get done faster than if you have all 3 workers build 1 farm, then another, then another. You know. So them working together actually works slower than if you have them each do 1 thing separate from each other. Of course, if you only have 1 thing to build, then it's not that big of a deal. Blue does end up finally pushing into green, but that's just not enough. And green's got the CC advantage, so in that if blue wants to push any more from that position, I mean, you push into a CC, that's not very great if you're going straight forward. And if you're going for the farms and such, the CC's where militia come out of, so green's got a really easy rally to the rest of his army. So his reinforcements hit sooner. Even if it's like 1 or 2 extra militia difference, in like assuming both players are sending reinforcements forward, 1 or 2 militia difference makes a big deal when you're low numbers because you've been beating the crap out of each other. Blue ends up making a barracks. I don't know if I like that decision. If you're gonna make a unit producing structure in this position and you're behind, you kind of need to have a tech advantage, or you know, you can get away with dude spam if you gotta get something done with it. I guess this is the way that I'm saying. Making militia soldier in this position will not win you the fight any more than making recons with your militia or making a heli and going and harassing around the map. So in this position, yeah, I question the effectiveness of making a barracks when you're behind. I guess you have more dudes that you can play with quicker. That is the thing. Soldiers are the cheapest unit per supply you can get that is not a militia, which means that you can produce more than one of them at a time. So militia, you get 1 militia every 10 seconds. Soldier, you get 1 soldier every 15 seconds, but you can make them out of 2 barracks, which helps. But yeah, green's gone ahead and made a vehicle depot. This is pretty bad if you're blue. Green's also got an air pad that he's probably going to use for transport copters, just to go take the islands. And then you can also use that for helis. If you're green, I wouldn't have hated seeing a port instead of the helipad. Mainly because it gives you access to fishing boats, and you can still use transport boats to get your workers to the islands. So you can take all the island farms, and you can take fishing spots. Which is distinctly something that the chopper can't help you with. Yeah, so far this game has pretty much stabilized in favor of green. There's a bit of a skirmish going around about the barracks there, but yeah, green's gonna send some reinforcements and try to clean that up if he can't. I think if you're blue and you have some heavies still there, you could probably pull off a defense. Keep your heavies behind the barracks. Nah, he's gonna go push the recons. Yeah, I don't know if I like that. Gets a kill, so there's that. But yeah, no. If you're ever behind and you're in a sort of stalemate, your best bet is to go and attack the vulnerable spots on the map. Right, so the 2 houses and farm that are completely undefended by green, if you can break that turret, you can shoot 3 generators of green. You know, reducing his energy capacity by 50 is, or not 50, 150 is a lot. You know, he might well have to spend a whole bunch of time with his workers doing nothing else and spending 30 bucks each to get the energy back so he can build extra stuff if he needs it. And then, you know, just shooting the farms around the map, giving green slightly less money to play with. Yeah, I finally jump in up close to watch the barracks die. And there goes all the units with it. Yeah, blue's basically dead. Blue calls GG. I don't think he sells for a little bit. Whatever the case, yeah, this game's basically over. Yeah, I guess I'll keep talking until this game actually does end up ending. I think it's a longer VOD anyways. I guess a little bit about what I've been up to. Oh yeah, I got a copy of Battle Network 3 for the Game Boy Advance, Mega Man Battle Network 3 last week. And that's epic. I mean, yeah, there's the Legacy Collection, but you can't beat the convenience of a tiny little square in your pocket that you pull out during lunch breaks or whatever and just play Battle Network on. Slight problem. Its save battery is dead. Battle Network is an RPG franchise. Good luck sitting down and beating something like Pokemon in one sitting. Unless your intent is to speedrun. It's a bit of a problem. So I guess I'm gonna go take that to some place that does battery replacements, because I don't want to learn how to solder right now, and I don't want to buy all of that equipment right now. And I guess in the meantime I'll just play on the Legacy Collection, because, well, screw me, I guess. Got back into Minecraft recently, so that's pretty neat. Yeah, I guess I don't have that much to talk about, honestly. I've just kind of been chilling, working 6 days a week. You don't really have that much free time to spend on things to talk about. I think NRTS really has been the most eventful thing that I've put my time into recently, which is, I suppose, not saying a whole lot. But I don't know, I enjoy this game a whole lot, and casting these games, even if, like, almost nobody sees them, and almost nobody's certainly going to hear this message, but, you know, I thank y'all for watching. There isn't many of you, but there's not many people who play this game in the first place, so it's kind of, I suppose, the expected result. But yeah, just thanks in general for sticking around, helping the community grow. You know, we're a small, tight-knit little community stuck playing a Roblox RTS. I guess not stuck, but I guess it's just interesting watching a community grow from basically dead to still pretty dead, but like tight-knit. I think tight-knit is the best way to describe it. The people who are still around, they're homies, you know? At least everyone I've interacted with so far that plays NRTS is at very least a decent human being, which that's mainly because I don't play on public lobbies almost at all now, but Even so, I don't know. The people who stick around with this game seem to be nice folks. They like the game a lot. I'm proud to be a part of this very small community. Because it just feels... I don't know how to describe it. I guess I have a lot of pride in this tiny thing that almost nobody will know about. And that feels kind of liberating almost. My secret away from the rest of the world. Not because I hide it, but because the rest of the world simply does not know. So yeah, this game's gonna last for a decent bit longer in this stalemate, to my recollection. Algo has gotten a bit salty. He's like, okay, I'm basically dead. What am I supposed to do? I mean, he's got forces. He can go try to send them around the map and at least disrupt some of Green's stuff. I mean, Green's got a whole bunch of recons, but you can get air tech. Your helis outrun recons. But yeah, in this position, you're boned. 8 minutes ago, you know, that would have been a pretty good time to act. Algo mentions that he should have gone further early game. I think some of that's true, and I think some of that is also trying to take stock of what you really have at every part of the game, right? So even like 7 minutes in the game, I don't think you're lost as Algo. I think you're on the back foot. I think you're in a bad spot, but that doesn't mean that the game's over, and that doesn't mean that you don't have agency. In this position, you basically have no agency. You're hard totaled up. He did lose his army in a fight, but you didn't have to have taken that fight. And even if you did, like, granted that you take the fight, that period, Green doesn't have almost anything, and I think some of it was just poor decision making on the part of Blue and getting a barracks instead of getting units that will deal better against the militia that Green will have, because he still had some after the fight and was still making them. And then even if you accept that he makes a barracks after losing that fight, just simply not attacking Green where he is open. Right? Even if it results in Green taking his stuff back and putting a tower on every farm, that takes time, and that takes money, especially the tower on every farm. And one thing to note in RTS generally, every player has a limit to the amount of attention that they can give. Right? Some players can give a lot more attention to stuff than others, but if you think of attention as a resource, then I think you find a lot more success. Where now you're not thinking, okay, how do I limit the amount of money they have, or how do I crush the amount of units they have? You're now, how do I create something that demands the most attention to drain their attention faster, such that I can hit them with something that they just won't do anything about because they don't have the attention to spare. Right? So the idea of, like, why choppers are so freaking annoying, it takes not very much effort to click on a farm or to queue it around the map, and it takes a lot more effort to hunt them down and kill. And if you have any other units doing anything else, then suddenly the opponent has to choose, am I going to worry about the heli Or am I going to worry about the army? Or the worker expansion? Or the militia that are building up? Or the insane greed that the opponent is now making in building a billion houses behind 2 choppers? You know, if you give your opponent a lot of things to think about and say, you have to think about these things, or, you know, in the sense of, if you do not think about these things, you will lose. Then I don't know. I found a lot of success in doing that. Basically, present them with a, if you do not do something about this, I will gain blank. And try to make that blank as big as possible, whatever that is. Whether it's, I gain a couple of farms that I can have now, I gain a numerical advantage over you in terms of troops, I gain victory, ultimately. Basically, make them respond to you. And put yourself in a position where you can come up with stuff quicker than they can come up with answers. So sending 1 militia to each of these open farms doesn't seem like it would do that much. And it really doesn't do that much. But, you know, if Green wants to go and kill all those militia in sequence, he has to kill 1, then the next, then the next. And so that's 3 things he has to do. And if he has other things to attend to, then he has to choose which goes first. Right, and of course 1 militia on a farm isn't going to kill it very quickly, but it's still a timer. It's still a nagging nuisance, and if you don't do anything about it, it will kill the farm. It'll take a while, but it will happen. So as far as that goes, if you're blue here, and you're starting to build up some forces in terms of choppers, it probably isn't a terrible idea to try to send them to some of these farms, if for no other reason than to distract Green for a little bit, keep him from making some units. He's probably got a whole bunch queued up right now because he seems to be maxed on housing, but just gum up the works slightly, make it so that his amassing of units is less smooth, or maybe in the process of trying to track down your helis, he forgets to queue units and his buildings stop making stuff. So he's got money, but he doesn't have units, and he hits a bottleneck, and now he has to figure out what he's going to do about it. All because you gave him a squirrel to go chase. I really should make a video about attention as a resource. Pretty sure I watched a video about fighting games that was basically about that whole thing. About like the different modes of your brain, the one that slows down and thinks, and the one that just kind of does mindlessly. And the one that slows down and thinks is the one that's got to make some of like the harder decisions. So, but it takes a whole lot more out of you to do that. So the idea there is you can physically wear down your opponent by mentally wearing on them and giving them hard problems to solve. It's a pretty interesting video. At least if I recall correctly. I remember it being very interesting. Alright, and now I finally call this match. No, do I call this match? God, it's 24 minutes into this. Sorry. It's just, if any of you in the audience have used Artillery Medic, I'm sure that you've realized that Green could have made this game end significantly sooner. Blue could have also sold. Anyways, I don't even think this was much of a slugfest. It was more of Green winning in 10 minutes and forgetting how to win a game. It's okay, Explode. Yeah, this is still in the time when Explode was in denial about Artillery Medic being good at all. Blue sells it to CC. That's a GG. Oh man, what a game. If you lasted this long, stuck around till the end, thank you very much for watching. I understand that this has been an extra 15 minutes that you could have spent on anything else, and I appreciate that you decided to spend it with me. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and remember, stay classy.